Abby and Kat were born in 1997 and became best friends when they were 6. Grew up together and started a band and bonded over music ever since. 20 years later, they are all grown up and spend their free time analyzing lyrics. Now here they are talking all about their Lord and Savior, Dr. Taylor Allison Swift. Taylor, if you're listening, we love you.
Welcome to Swiftlore Podcast, where we dive in lyrics and lore of our Lord and Savior, Dr. Taylor Allison Swift.
Absolutely, that's why we're here.
I'm Kat.
I'm Abby.
And we're zooming it.
We're zooming again for different reasons than last time.
Different reasons. This time, it's because my mic cord decided that it didn't want to work anymore on my birthday. You brought me a broken cord to my birthday party on my birthday. So while we're waiting for a new one to come in, we're just doing a little Zoom recording instead.
So this week was voted on by the Patreon. We're doing our punctuation series.
I am covering Florida.
And I'm covering Slut.
Which I think is funny because this is our 69th episode.
Yes.
And I realized that, and then I texted Abby with hee-hees.
Yes, this is our 69th. Can you believe we've made it?
We're almost to 70.
Almost.
But funnier. Okay.
And it's we passed your birthday. We successfully celebrated.
We laid on the ground and cried to Ribs by Lord.
As we should have.
As is required the night before a birthday.
Yeah, it was cathartic for me personally.
Yeah, it was very fun. We had a very fun sleepover.
And we had our March Madness live stream.
I mean, it was so fun.
Oh my goodness. It was.
So, since you guys are all waited with bated breath, I'm sure You're on Your Own, Kid reign supreme as the number one track 5, which you might be like, oh, because that's Abby's favorite song. I mean, maybe, but also the questions that we had, like Yo-Yok just won.
It did, because our final 3 in the bracket were Yo-Yok, My Tears Ricochet, and Delicate, which is a solid top 3.
Yeah, solid top 3.
And based on the questions that were asked, based on the criteria that we decided, it was Yo-Yok. Yo-Yok won.
Yeah, like some of the questions were like, if this song was a character, which character would you like more? Which one would have you on your knees in a Marshalls if it played over the speakers? Stuff like that.
Which ones have better lyrics? Which ones have you listened to more? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Making characters out of all the songs was really fun.
Yeah, it really was.
So thank you to our patrons who joined us, and thank you for people listening now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any other front matter because we recorded our last episode what feels like 2 days ago.
When you're listening to this, we'll be on our way back. Well, if you're listening to this when it comes out, we'll still be in New York, but we'll be on our way back in the morning.
With birthday shenanigans and with like traveling and all that, I'm trying to get everything done and scheduled before we leave so that I don't have to worry and we can just have a fun time. Oh, goodness. Trying to like plan ahead and be a grown up. Am I right?
Ugh. What are you going to do next? Buy your grocery at the grocery store?
You know what's crazy is I did that today. No, here's what I want to say about my grocery shopping run. Here's what I want to say because this is ridiculous. Have you ever seen that TikTok of the guy that's just like went to the store, bought hoisin sauce, got home? I already have hoisin sauce. I'm like that with taco sauce. I swear to God, taco sauce always. I keep buying more thinking that I need more. And so I noticed in the cart today, I was like, because I do Instacart and then I pick it up at the store because grocery stores give me anxiety. And I look through my cart as I'm about to head out and I talk to my roommate and I'm like, we don't need taco sauce, right? And she was like, no, both of us keep buying taco sauce. I'm like, great, perfect. I'll take it out the cart. Get my groceries, bring them home. I forgot to take it out of the cart. I have more taco sauce. I bought my grocery at the grocery store.
It looks like you're going to have a taco party.
I guess so. I mean, I use it because I make fajitas and I make tacos often. I often say that there is never going to be a point in my life where a taco won't make me feel better.
That's so true.
I love tacos.
Oh, should we talk about you timeline jumping in the group chat? So we're having a conversation in the group chat about trying to figure out where we want to book for karaoke next week when we're in New York. And Abby goes, No time to explain, but I feel like I just jumped timelines. And I go, what do you mean no time to explain? What do you mean no time to explain? This is the time to explain. You can't just say that and then move on.
It was the way that I brought it up and was like, but I don't have time to explain what
No,
happened.
literally, you were like, I think I just jumped timelines. Anyways, yeah,
Because
that
you
looks like a good
asked
place
me,
for karaoke. It's like, what do you mean?
you asked me a question. So here's what happened is I know you asked me a question. And
Mhm.
then I was like, I still have to answer in the group chat. I went back to the group chat and then I scrolled up and I'm like, wait, I never sent a text that I thought I already sent. And so then I'm like, right. So then I sent it again. But then it was just confusing. I felt like I jumped timelines. It's been a weird day. I bought taco sauce and went to therapy, okay?
No, just the essentials. I had to do work. Terrible.
Ugh, 2003 unbearable.
Literally.
So, now that I've gotten that story out of the way, shall we begin? Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Slut.
Slut.
So, I have episode 68 notes here. That's wrong. Episode 69 is the slut episode.
It really is. Yeah.
So, this is the 17th song on 1989 Taylor's version. It's the first track from the vault that was, oh, I just didn't know how to use punctuation in my notes. It's fine.
Valid.
It was the first track in the vault. It was written and produced by Swiftenoff and Patrick Berger. I don't know anything else about Patrick Berger.
Love that for him.
On September 19th, 2023, that there was a video that Taylor posted of a blue vault to social media teasing this song. It had the letters LSUT exclamation point, and everyone was like, it's either slut or lust. And I don't know, I mean, I'm assuming everyone wanted this song to be called Slut, and then it was called Slut with an
Yeah.
exclamation point, and we were all like, yeah. And then the song was like, whoo, you know?
Yeah, I'm not sure why the exclamation point was chosen because in Florida, the exclamation points make total sense. But in
Yes.
slut,
So the thing about slut is that the title is in quotation marks
mm,
because that's what people were yelling at her.
fair.
And then towards the end of the song, there's the backing vocals that's just slut. And so that's where it came from. But I think if you're titling the song blindly, when you
Yeah.
walk into it, you're not expecting the song that occurs.
Very true. Like even if I feel like they could have done no exclamation point and just done slut in quotations and it would have still been similar. But maybe the point is it was supposed to be a bait and switch.
That might have been the point. I feel like the point is that
Good.
she's being called this really aggressive term and labeled for her dating habits
And she's
when
literally just over on the bench.
she's just over on the bench having a really lovely time with her partner. So I don't know. Well, we'd have to ask her if we ever interview her.
Hmm.
This song was written in response to her being called a serial dater during the 1989 era because, God forbid, a woman goes out and dates people when she's in her 20s.
Literally, like how could you?
How could she? Honestly, that whole argument is so strange to me now. I mean, it's always been strange to me, and I know it's still happening, but just like let people date people.
I agree. Sorry, Spear wanted the sweater on.
Spears
But
now
now she's
wearing a
just staring.
cardigan.
Now she's just staring in the distance. Spear,
Oh my gosh,
lay down.
she's so perfect.
Yeah,
She
it's
looks
almost like
just like Speak Now Taylor, like the poster of Speak Now Taylor right behind her.
now this is the reason why you should watch the video podcast, everybody, because Spear is here.
She's being so cute. So, you probably know more about this than I do. Apparently, there was like a misprint on the original vinyl that was set out for this song that said that this song originally featured Maddie Healy, and there was also an alternate verse too.
Hmm.
Right. I never heard of this before.
Nor have I. I've not heard of that.
But that was said on both Genius and Wiki.
Interesting.
So that's strange, is it
Yeah.
not? I feel like that's kind of
Strange.
strange in it. I feel like it's just that I- my brain can't function with this knowledge.
Mhm.
Like, but also I feel like it would have been a slay if he'd featured because the song's vibes kind of remind me of About You.
Yeah. I feel like, I mean, obviously they had broken up by the time that 1989 Taylor's version came out, so like it makes sense that if he was going to be featured, he got cut. I'm glad he's not on it.
That's fair. That's fair. I get why he's
Personally.
not on it. I mean, if whatever speculation, blah blah, blah,
Yeah.
but that's just an interesting little fun fact. According to Taylor, she really loved this song a lot and wanted to include it on the original album, and it was basically between this and Blank Space, and she felt like this song was too California, and so Blank Space was more New York, and that's why this one did not make the cut.
Honestly, she's right.
She is right.
Is very much more California. And also, Slut does not have the star potential of Blank Space.
Oh, Blank Space is in my it's in my top
It's so
songs.
good.
It's a really flawless song.
It really is. It's like a perfect pop song.
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned this in, I don't even know which episode, a while back, how when I Googled this song, for example, to research it, I had to Google Taylor Swift Slut. And there's a theory. I don't know if it's a theory or if it's just like a thing that she did that's a smart choice.
Mhm.
Because now when you Google Taylor Swift Slut, it comes up as the song instead of accusations about her dating life.
Yeah. I think that it's somewhat purposeful and somewhat like a good coincidence. Like, I don't think that she wrote the song specifically for the fact that she could use it to rewrite the headlines, but I do think that naming it, that probably factored in.
Yeah, I think it's really smart. And it was the same. We talked about it during like the Reputation rebranding with the snake. So that
Yes.
was
Yeah.
another one. It also reminds me of the Disney Frozen theory. I
Oh,
don't know
yeah.
if I brought that up last time, how people think that they made this movie called Frozen because people were Googling if Walt Disney's head was frozen as a conspiracy. That one I believe a little less, I must say.
Yeah.
This song, other than the fact that people were expecting a rager, a banger, and got something more subdued. Other than that, this got generally positive reviews from people. I wrote a couple down. So Angie Martaccio of Rolling Stone called the song a stunner and described it as a hazy, shimmering ode to being unabashedly in love, even if you're shamed and sexualized for it. I tried to find, I'm pretty sure in one of our first episodes, we predicted what we thought these vault tracks were going to sound like.
Mm.
I couldn't for the life of me find it. I searched for at least 15 minutes. You got to give me that.
I put 1/4 of an hour into this.
I did, but I skimmed through like 3 or 4 episodes, and it's very possible I missed it somewhere, but I don't care. 15 minutes is 15 minutes. It was performed as a surprise song on the Eras Tour, November 12th, 2023, in Buenos Aires, Argentina. And it was performed as a surprise song twice as a part of a mashup with False God on March 8th and July 17th, 2024. That makes
Wow.
sense to me.
That totally fits. That's so correct.
It's very correct.
False God is in is lover's slut era, so it really feels correct.
Yes, exactly. So, personal connections. One time I made a mashup of this song with End of Beginning by Joe, because of course I did.
Of course you did, as you
And
should.
I posted it to the Patreon, but I'm thinking about making it available for more people to listen to because I feel like it. Now we can get to the lyrics. So it's
Lyrics.
this song plays a lot with color, which is not new territory for Taylor and not too new territory for us. We've talked about it a lot.
Yeah.
But these are like fun colors. So it starts with flamingo pink, Sunrise Boulevard. This is setting the scene once again. So we're seeing flamingo pink. I think that she's talking about the sky. So it's probably either sunrise or sunset. Considering she says Sunrise Boulevard, I'm going to guess it's the sunrise, especially because the place is typically called Sunset Boulevard. She's mixing it up. So I think she's stating that it's a sunrise.
Hmm. And like making a joke about the fact they're on Sunset at sunrise.
Right. And Sunset Boulevard is in California. There's also a neighborhood called Sunrise in California. So she was right with the whole this song being California right out the
Very
gate.
Cali coded.
Cali
I also
coded.
love that this song is where she got the color titles for the 1989.
Yep.
Sorry, I didn't know if you were gonna get to it.
Yeah, that was my literal next fun fact. So the yellow version of the vinyl for this was called Sunrise Boulevard.
And the pink was called Flamingo Pink.
Yes. So, Clink Clink Being this young is art. So clink clink is probably referring to glasses clinking. She mentions being drunk as symbolism for love a lot. In this song, she says, might as well be drunk in love. So this is the process of her. It's the sunrise. She's with her partner. It's beautiful. It's artful. Being young is this wonderful, vibrant thing. And she's getting drunk on love. Being in your 20s is a very vibrant period of life, especially your early 20s, as she was when she wrote this. Aquamarine, moonlit swimming pool. What if all I need is you?
Okay.
We get another color. And she's also saying that, like, despite all these luxuries, maybe that all she needs is to be with this person to make life easy. Interestingly enough, we just talked about this same concept in our Orla Gartland episode last week in the song Simple. Aquamarine was another version of the vinyl. And these lyrics were teased on Instagram before the song dropped. Now we get into the pre-chorus. Got love struck, went straight to my head. I just talked about she's comparing love to alcohol. It hit her like taking a shot and now, woo, like hit her all at once.
It's like, oh, I did not expect it to go that hard.
Yeah. Got love sick all over my bed. Not gonna lie. Don't like this. Don't like this lyric. It grosses me out. No matter how you put it, I don't like it.
I have always thought of this lyric as like her laying in bed and just like journaling or listening to music and just being like lovesick and also the spicy connotation. But
Or she's getting sick. It's like no matter what. I don't know if I like it.
because
But
also if we're going with like the drinking metaphor, it's like alcohol poisoning. You drink enough that you start throwing up.
right, and now she's
Like she
lovesick all over this bed.
overindulged in love.
Yeah, yeah, which I get it. It makes sense. I just every time I hear that lyric, I'm like,
Yeah, I don't like it either.
it's kind of gross. Love to think you'll never forget handprints in wet cement. So putting your handprints in wet cement, it'll dry, and then that's forever.
At my parents' house, there's handprints in the front walk. There's two. They are not me and my brothers. They're from the people whose house it was before us because they had planned to live there for a long time and then they had to move for one of the parents' jobs. So now they're, when we were younger, we would tell people it was me and my brothers, but it's not. So
I don't
just
think I
fun
ever
fact.
realized that was not you and your brother's
Not me and my
hands.
brothers.
Okay. I have so many thoughts, but I'll try to condense them. There's an episode of The Office where Michael Scott comes in and he's just like, guys, there's wet cement outside. Got to figure out what to do. Got to figure out what to do. And then he puts his face in it. It's a whole other thing. He like covers his face in Vaseline first. He's smart about it, quote unquote. But
As you do.
so the other thing about that is I was on Genius and they were like, fun fact, Emma Stone had a very emotional experience with the handprints in wet cement. And that could be what Taylor's referring to. I read the article. It was literally like nothing. It was nothing. I'm like, there's no way Taylor is writing about Emma Stone's experience.
With handprints and wet cement. I wonder if it was some sort of reference to like Hollywood Walk of Fame because that's handprints and wet cement.
It wasn't, although apparently Emma Stone has always wanted to do that, but I don't know. I read the article yesterday. You expect me to remember what I wrote in the article or what I read? I didn't
You're
write
like,
the
actually,
article.
I made up this article and that's how I know it's made up is that I started the rumor.
I jumped timelines again.
Oh no. Welcome back to the worst one again.
Oh boy.
Except not quite the worst because at least we have the podcast and Spear.
And
Spear
Spear.
can't exist on the worst timeline.
So in Wildest Dreams, Say You'll Remember Me, this concept of wanting to be something that the other person remembers forever is a desire that Taylor has in a lot of her songs. Adorned with smoke on my clothes. Genius made this a whole metaphor about fire and the shadow of the afterlife. And to me, I was like, yeah, no, she just like went and had a cigarette outside and now she's back in and she's remembering or like at a campfire or something. And it like stays on your clothes and your hair.
Yeah. Or like she went outside and stood next to somebody who was smoking a cigarette and she still smells like a cigarette because
Right, right. So she's adorned with smoke on her clothes. What does it have to do with the afterlife? Genius, explain. Lovelorn and nobody knows. she found out pretty early on in her career that if she was to talk about her romantic life at all, they would just latch onto it. They, as in the paparazzi and the media, latch onto it and judge her for it. So then she became very private in her dating life and her personal life now at this point. I mean, she doesn't
Yeah.
post too much anymore, which is totally her choice. But also, I can't help but think that the way that she was treated
Yeah.
contributes a lot to that decision.
Oh, absolutely.
Love thorns all over this rose. I'll pay the price. You won't. I love that lyric a lot.
Mm.
So, love has added a sense of pain and danger to this beautiful flower, this beautiful person, to her. Like now she has thorns, but she's the only one that's going to pay the price because it's always going to be her fault one way or another. If someone reaches to pick up this beautiful flower and gets pricked, that's her fault, even though it's the love that's causing that.
Yeah. Rose garden full of thorns.
Exactly. Oh my God. Who is she? In the chorus. But if I'm all dressed up, they might as well be looking at us. Like, if I'm going to fall in love, if I'm going to, get dressed up to go on dates with you, then they might as well see it. Like, I might as well be seen by other people as well. It's sort of like this giving it up of like letting go of the fact that people are going to judge her.
Hmm.
And if they call me a slut, it might be worth it for once, is such a sad, painful line.
Yeah.
Like,
Because when you think about her, like when she starts dating somebody, it's not only just like when I start dating someone, it's like, oh, do I like them? Do I enjoy spending time with them? Can I see a future? And she's just like, is it going to be worth being dragged publicly and called a slut and all of these other derogatory terms for going on a date with a guy? Or should I maybe just not do that?
yeah. Yeah. Because they're going to call her a slut. They will, no matter what
Yeah.
she does. They will. And they did. And she's saying that I love this person so much, I'm going to do it anyway because I'm not going to let them control like the love that I feel.
Hmm.
Even if they control the way that they speak about me, the way that I'm seen, who cares? As long as the other person doesn't see me that way. She said in an interview that if she could tell anything to her 19-year-old self, it was, you will have a normal dating life and you will get scrutinized for it. And also, she said that she doesn't think she did anything wrong by dating her 20s. And she's right.
She literally, everybody's like, oh, she's such a slut. Like, she dates so many guys. It's like, over the course of like 15 years, she had like maybe 10 boyfriends.
Yeah, it's so wild to me when people bring that up. Even now.
Even now. Well, because I think now when people say that, it's because they learned her reputation one time and then they just never moved on from it.
No, they stayed there in 2014. It's like we are a decade later. That's
Here, come on,
just
feminism had showed up.
calm down, y'all.
Calm down.
You're being too loud.
And I'm just like, uh-oh, uh-oh.
Uh-oh, uh-oh. And if I'm gonna be drunk,
Yeah.
I might as well be drunk in love. So,
Well,
as we've been saying, if I'm gonna get scrutinized, I might as well be having a good time. If I'm gonna go out, it might as well be in flames, I guess. That's not
fair.
really an expression, but
But it should be. Honestly, that's kind of iconic. If I'm
thank
gonna
you.
go out, it's gonna be in flames. New life motto. It's like the
Uh,
more fun version of like fail boldly.
it is, yeah. So the second verse, there's a whole alternate verse that was in the misprint.
Hmm.
And like I want to know more about this because what? It's so different. So the second verse originally was lights blink, losing my mind. What we think happens to rhyme. I drink, fortunate timing. Days shrink into long nights now. +44 on an American phone. Cat eye running down her cheekbone. But it's elegant, I tell her. You're not a slut, you're just relevant. And then she called me a gentleman.
Hmm. Interesting, interesting.
You're not a slut, you're just relevant.
That makes sense because I was actually thinking about this like a minute ago when you were saying like no matter what happens, like somebody's gonna call her a slut. It's like, yeah, because she's so famous that the level of exposure that she has in the media and online and everything, there's gonna be at least one misogynistic asshole.
Yeah, definitely. So I don't know how it would have sounded, but it sounds very much like that's from the guy's point of view. So if
Hmm.
it was originally featuring Matty Healy, then he was going to sing that part. So it's like, in another universe, maybe that's the universe I came from,
Yeah,
was to
maybe.
say. So the actual verse, send the code, he's waiting there. Like in Willow, wait for the signal and I'll meet you after dark.
Mm.
The sticks and stones they throw froze midair. First of all, very hard for me to say. Don't know why that's so hard for me to say. Secondly, it's like he's a buffer for their criticism, which we've talked about this before in Nanny
The
Passing
full
By.
screen.
Long story short,
Long story short.
where the insults don't affect him because she's always the one that's going to pay the price.
Hmm.
So stones are throwing midair. Everyone wants him. That was my crime. That's so true. True. I thought because the 1989 album is typically about someone else,
Hmm.
different British guy. That was what I was thinking when I was originally hearing these lyrics. And so like her crime in this case has nothing to do with the fact that she's dating someone and everything to do with the fact that people hate her because they want him.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
that was huge back then.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll just say it right now, whatever. People love Harry Styles. We've been new.
Listen, Halsey's career kicked off because she was making fun of Taylor Swift and Harry
Mm.
for dating Harry Styles because she was a directioner. And like, you know what? I ate that up. And like, obviously they're good now because they literally performed together like a couple years ago at some award show. But like, it was a cultural moment.
It was, and everyone loved Harry and loved One Direction, and so therefore, because he was off the market, and with her of all people, and
She's gonna
it's
break his heart. We have to protect him. He's an adult.
and you also don't know him,
Yeah. And you also don't know her.
right? Exactly. So it's a very intense way to feel about celebrity couplings. I'll leave it at that.
Yes.
It's still very much happening, and especially with guys that are wanted,
Hmm.
people get jealous. The wrong place at the right time, and I break down, then he's pulling me in a world of boys, he's a gentleman. She talks about boys derogatory and men affectionate a lot in her songs. I think it's interesting how in this one she says in a world of boys he's a gentleman, and then in the next album, younger than my exes, but he acts like such a man so. Like this concept of
Hmm.
boy versus man in
Yeah.
the songs. And I'd imagine it would be the same as girl versus woman in her songs, right? Because I feel like how you get the girl is this era.
Yeah.
But is she calling herself a woman in these songs?
I mean, I think that A, I think yes, because I think that, but actually, I don't know. I think it's less loaded to say girl versus woman than it is to say like boy versus man.
That's true.
And I think part of that is that societally, like men are supposed like boys grow up and become men and they're supposed to have all these responsibilities and like girls have responsibilities from a very young age a lot of times. So it's like there's not as much of a difference between girls and women because it's like, well, a lot of times girls have to help out with stuff earlier than men do. And so boys get to be boys and then girls get to be housewives in training. I have a lot of thoughts, clearly.
Yeah, I mean, it's a loaded subject, but I'm thinking about like right now off the top of my head, I know she mentions woman in Mad Woman, where
Yeah.
she's talking about like the hysterical woman. So these gender dynamics are pretty consistent in her songs, whether she is like intending to do it, because sometimes I don't think she's intending to do it, but it's also just what we learn in society of what boys and men and girls and women are.
Mhm.
The pre-chorus happens again, and it's the same, except for instead of I'll pay the price you won't, it's we'll pay the price, I guess. So now she's saying that they're both going to pay the price because now his reputation is dinged and her reputation is the same damaged it's always been.
Mhm.
So they're both paying the price. All
And I
right.
also think of that line as like they'll pay the rice. They'll pay the rice. They'll pay the price as a couple. Like we'll pay the price because the pressure of everybody scrutinizing their relationship causes it to break down.
Yeah. 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 Times three.
Yeah, yeah.
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 Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lulu.
So,
Sorry.
so now we get to the bridge. Half asleep, taking your time in the tangerine. So we get this tangerine color again. She's waking up with them or seeing the sunrise or the sunset. It is unclear at this point what time it is, but it's like a slow, just like peaceful night with the person she loves. And it reminds me of earlier in the album when she says the world was black and white, but we were screaming color. Neon light, this is luxury. Like all she needs is him.
Hmm.
You're not saying you're in love with me, but you're going to. Oh, bestie.
I love the confidence, but also doesn't she repeat it? The like, but you're going to?
Yes,
Because I think she's trying to convince herself a little bit.
absolutely she is. This is a situation where she's definitely just trying to say like, and I'm gonna get you back. Well, this is a much later album, but she says like, I know you want me. Like I know you want me to. She in her songs a lot of the times is like, I know this is what you want. I know that. But she doesn't actually know that. I think that's what she wants.
I assume that.
And another vault track, if you do recall, in Say Don't Go, I said I love you. He said nothing back. Like she's saying,
Weird to decide about that.
yeah, it's a sad one because this whole song she's saying it's worth it to be called a slut because I'm with you. I love you. And then he doesn't say it back.
Rude.
Half awake, taking your chance. It's a big mistake. So first she was half asleep, which is a calming state, and now being half awake is a more disconcerting state of being. It's less comfortable at least.
Hmm.
He's going to keep dating her despite there being a risk of him going down with her. I said it might blow up in your pretty face. I'm not saying do it anyway, but you're going to. And I mean, it hasn't happened yet as of this song. So it's possible she was incorrect in that assumption.
Who's to say?
It's kind of the albatross core
Mm,
because that also was just like he got the warnings
yeah.
about who she was. And my last note about this was in the outro. There's just it's like all stripped down and you just hear slut in the background. And that was in my first listening of this song, that was where I think I got it. Something in it clicked for me and I got emotional because this whole song is just like so calming, but it's so dark and tragic at the same time. Like she's in this half asleep state with the person she loves and then she's just hearing in the distance slut. Like she can't even enjoy it.
Yeah.
Sad. Sad.
Sad.
And that's it. My discussion question, if you were to change the title of the song, would you? And what would it be?
That's a good question. I feel like I stand by my point that the exclamation point wasn't needed. But also I could see it being something like from like I don't know. I think it would have to be something with like the handprints and wet cement.
Ooh.
Because I think that is like a very good metaphor. Because it's like if we stick through this enough, then the like print of our hands will become solidified. But if somebody comes along and messes it up, then it'll just be messed up.
Yeah. No, I think that would be cool. I've come to really like that the song is called Slut.
Fair.
I think I'm okay with it as is at this point, now that I've sort of analyzed it and sat with it. But I think I did have a different expectation as to what it would be.
Oh, same.
And I still want that song. Not gonna lie.
Yes, I want the boppy slut
Whatever the alternate universe was.
where slut was a bop. Not that this isn't a bop. A bop is a bop, but it's not like an ass shaking song.
Maybe I'll go to that universe next.
Just pop over.
That was also one of the questions in our March Madness was would you shake your ass to it? Like
Which did come up in the last round.
it did. So it was like Delicate, My Tears Ricochet, and Yo
Yo,
Yuck. And of course, Delicate is the winner for that question, but we had five questions that round to get through, and then it was who had the most out of those five, and then we had tiebreakers. It was so fun.
it was so fun.
But anyway, yeah, that's Slut.
Slut. So now it's my turn.
Shimmer, 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 shimmer.
I make the whole place shimmer.
You didn't say the name of the song.
I know. I got distracted.
Okay.
I was about to, and then I realized after I said the whole place shimmer that I was supposed to say the name. Anyways,
Okay.
shimmer, shimmer,
Shimmer,
shimmer.
shimmer, shimmer, shimmer.
Florida. Florida.
Bum, 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 bum.
Track 8 on Tortured Poets.
So true,
Um,
bestie.
this song was written by Taylor and Florence of Florence and the Machine. This song was produced by Taylor and Jack, aka Swift and Off. And this song was inspired by Taylor watching Dateline. As she revealed in an interview, she said, I'm always watching like Dateline, Swift says with a laugh. People, have these crimes that they commit where they immediately skip town and go to Florida. They try to reinvent themselves, have a new identity, blend in. And she said that it's the same thing with heartbreak. I think when you're going through a heartbreak, there's a part of you that thinks, I want a new name, I want a new life. So that's kind of what this song is about, is drawing parallels between like committing a crime and running away from it and leaving a relationship and running away from it, which if we connect it to getaway car is interesting. Took the money in the bag and stole the keys, and that was the last time you ever saw me.
Yeah.
Ah.
Who hasn't had the desire to just run away and start a new life, start over?
Florence also talked about being on Florida with British Vogue. They asked her if she was ready for the avalanche of internet discourse that greeted the Tortured Poets department. And she said, I almost didn't think of the scale of it. There's the sort of bigness of Taylor Swift, the phenomenon. And then there's the Taylor I spend time with in the studio, who is just the sweetest and most down to earth. And she talked about how they came up with the idea for the song. Taylor came to her with a concept and a story for the track. And that's like where they started, was just this idea of fleeing to Florida, fleeing a relationship. There are speculation-y things to say about this, and I didn't write any of them down because
That's not what this podcast is.
I'm not going to talk about that on my podcast.
Although I'll mention this now. I realized the other day that there's a place in Florida called St. Augustine,
Hmm.
which, if you recall, in folklore, Augustine is one of the members of the love triangle.
Interesting.
So I don't know if there's a invisible string there.
In my mind, there is.
Maybe that's where she went after Betty took James back.
True. Or imagine they're like Betty and James are in Florida, like driving through something, like on a road trip or something, and they look up and they're passing through St. Augustine. Betty just gets out of the still moving car. Or better yet, she opens the passenger door where James is, because I don't know, he's a scrub, and she pushes him out.
Right.
The alligators.
And so,
And then gotta work your life away to pay for a timeshare down in Destin.
that's
All
true.
right, so the song has been performed live 4 times. It was added to the Tortured Poets department set. It was not a surprise song. And the first time that this happened was on August 20th, 2024 in London, England. And Florence came up on the stage. It was a whole surprise. There's choreography, there was a whole thing, which like is very surprising because what do you mean they did an entire fully choreographed dance number and they only performed it 4 times?
That was a wild thing that happened on
It
the
is
Eras
really
tour.
crazy because like so performed it in London and then they also did it October 18th, 19th, and 20th, 2024 in Miami, Florida, because of course. But I'm obsessed with the fact that they did this whole thing for 4 performances. Incredible. In terms of personal connections, I have never killed a person and fled to Florida, and I have no plans to as of right now. We'll see what happens. Kidding.
I used to go to Florida every spring break with my dad and my brother, James, who is a good person.
James' brother, not James
James'
derogatory.
brother. Yeah, and we never killed anyone either.
Love that for you. Now that we've all gotten that out of the way, um, this song also, I loved it from the first time that we listened to it. I just remember like bopping to the don 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 don.
It's impossible not to bop to it.
It's impossible. And also, This song is on every road trip playlist that I've made since Tortured Poets came out, and it will continue to be on every road trip playlist that I make ever, because it doesn't matter where you're going. This song in the car hits. And now get into the lyrics. Overall, this song is just, sometimes you commit a crime and then you run away to a state with lax laws around taxes. And that's when you end up in Florida.
Can you
Um,
believe that the word taxes and Texas are just two vowels, just swippity swapped?
I've never thought about that before, but that makes sense. I don't know why. It just feels right.
Somehow it does feel right.
And did you know that you can beat the heat if you beat the charges too? The start of this song, just the way that her voice sounds when it comes in and like the instrumentation coming, it's so good. Saying like beat the heat, like if you're under pressure, like you're under fire, you've got the heat on you, is like the police think that you've done a crime that you may or may not have done. But also, when you're in a place with a hot climate, you try to do things really early in the day to beat the heat. Like when I used to be a runner in college and I'd get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning for long runs so that I didn't have to run in the heat. Wouldn't recommend. But that's how you beat the heat, is that you get up really early and you go do something. But you can beat the heat if you beat the charges too. If you beat the heat of the police attention, then you'll beat the charges. But also, if you beat the charges, you can escape to Florida and fit your life around beating the heat. So
True.
they said I was a cheat. I guess it must be true. And this line to me says like she did in fact beat the charges. Like the you can beat the heat if you beat the charges too. They said I was a cheat. Guess it must be true because if you all think that I'm guilty, it doesn't matter if I did it or not. Everybody thinks that I am, so I gotta get out of this town because whether or not I actually committed this crime or I actually was the reason for this breakup, you guys all think that I did it, and therefore me getting away with it, it seems like I'm cheating, but I'm not. And she's kind of like poking fun at how public opinion decides, even when sometimes, like, even if she did commit the crime, whatever the crime in question would be, if there wasn't like enough evidence to actually prosecute her for it or whatever, then it's like, oh, you're cheating because you did too good at the crime, as you do,
As one does.
as one does when they're doing crime. And my friends all smell like weed or little babies.
Yes, top
I
tier
think about
lyric.
this line all the time because all of my friends smell like weed or little babies.
It's accurate when you're in your 20s.
Because it's just, especially being in like mid to late 20s, it's like I've now reached the age where if people my age are having kids or getting married, they are at a normal age to do that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there are some people who got married right out of high school, and I still don't feel anywhere near ready for that. But like everyone has their own timeline, and at the same time, like you have the two extremes going on simultaneously.
Yeah, and I think also it's hard, like, and she kind of gets into this about like not feeling at home in the place that she lives. And I think part of that is the like feeling like you're in a very different place from all of your friends. Thank God we're in like basically the same place. Look at us go. But I think it's pretty common to feel like an outsider when all of your friends are in different places in life and you're not in line with any of them. And how like that's such an isolating thing. And you're like, all my friends smell like weed or little babies. When we met, when we were in high school or college or whatever, everybody's kind of on an even playing field of like where they're at in life. And then when you get to your 20s, that path diverges in that yellow wood like nobody's business. And suddenly there's not two paths, there's a quadrillion paths, and you can only choose one unless you're universe hopping like Abby. And this city reeks of driving myself crazy. She sees the options in front of her. It's either like partying, living up your 20s, or settling down. And trying to choose between these two things that she doesn't want is driving her insane because she doesn't want the like partying, weed lifestyle, but she also doesn't want to settle down and have kids. And she feels like not fitting in one of those categories is driving her insane. The whole city just reeks of driving herself crazy.
Yeah, so even out of the context of crime. I think her saying like beating the charges is the fact that everyone's just constantly talking about her and hating on her and wanting to flee. Yet again, it's not like she hasn't done this before.
Hmm.
Except this time she's like, what if I went to Florida? But what I think is really interesting for me is I never thought about the lyrics much before, and I thought when she said this city reeks of, I thought she was talking about Florida already, but she's not in Florida yet.
No, she's not.
She's not there.
No, but she's about to get there. Little did you know. I love that the narrative of this song is really interesting. Like she's telling a story, but she's not telling it in a linear way. Like the first verse, she's talking about like, oh yeah, you can beat the heat if you beat the charges too. Like my friends all smell like weed or little babies. But now it's kind of like the pre-chorus is her reflecting back on this time that she was in during the first verse and like little did you know like you're stuck in this place of like the city reeks of driving yourself crazy and like you're trying to choose between these things that you don't really want and little did you don't know anything that's going on and like reflecting on how crazy she was going thinking my options are these two things that just uh-uh. Your home's really only a town you're just a guest in. Part of what's driving her crazy is the city that reeks of driving herself crazy. She didn't fit into the options laid out for her by her peers in her city. All her friends are in different places in life, and she didn't realize that the place that she was calling home wasn't for her. So she was just a guest, even though she lived there. She's still just a guest because she never fit in.
It's so sad because your home it obviously isn't supposed to feel like that.
Yeah.
And she's stating it as fact.
Like, little did you know your home's really just a town you're just a guest in. So you work your life away just to pay for a timeshare down in Destin. This idea of like hating your life and the options that you have in front of you so much that you're like, oh, actually, I'm just gonna escape to this other place. I'm gonna go to this timeshare down in Destin and feel like you fit in for once in your life. But then it's a timeshare. So the main thing with a timeshare is you don't have it 100% of the time. Like you cannot live in a timeshare permanently because I mean, it's in the name. You share the time that you spend in it with other people who also are paying to spend time in it. And also, notoriously, timeshares are like not a great investment. They're really hard to get out of once you get in them. There's a whole SpongeBob episode that the culmination is just like this was all a timeshare pitch. So like it's kind of a known thing that they're kind of a scam, even though they're not quite a scam. Like I know some people that have timeshares and like them, but they can also be extremely predatory.
But what's wild is that she just said that little did you know your home's just a town you're a guest in. So now I'm going to go be a guest in another town in a timeshare.
Actually, wait, very interesting thing I just thought of for that line of like, your home is a place you're just a guest in. She's talking about like the place where she lives, she feels like a guest because it doesn't feel like home. In the place that feels like home, she actually is a guest.
Yes, exactly.
So like so she's got to work her life away just to pay for the timeshare down in Destin because she cannot afford to fully live the life that she wants and to fully escape what she has built for herself. But she can invest in these little stolen moments of like running away in this escapist fantasy. Florida,
Mm, 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 mm.
it's one hell of a drug. Florida is a concept, and the concept is just escapism and escaping your life. Microdosing your dream life is one hell of a drug. Florida, can I use you up? She wants to stay in her escape fantasy, but eventually it's going to end. Like it's a timeshare down in Destin. There's only a certain amount of time that she's allowed to stay there, and the amount of time that she's allowed to live on the property. She wants to stay up until the end, though. Like she is going to use it up. She's going to stay there until she is kicked out. Also, so the first verse is fully sung by Taylor. Florida is sung by Taylor and Florence, and then the is one hell of a drug and Can I Use You Up are once again just Taylor. And then verse two is all Florence until the last line that they sing together. But we'll get there.
I have something to say.
Say it.
I wish that Florence had more power in her voice in this verse. I'm so sorry. I just feel like she has so much power in her voice, and
Mm.
it's like she's holding back a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know what it
Same.
is.
I
Because
think
I'm
also
obs
because the chorus is so big in this song,
yeah.
like going from, and the first verse is also so strong and very driving.
Right. And I feel like in her part of the verse, she's singing softer and you can't
Yeah.
really hear her as well. And I'm like, no, 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 no. You're like the voice of the generation. I need to hear you louder.
Literally.
Maybe her hiding is part of it.
True.
If we really want to overanalyze.
And we do. And another I love, I love when a verse starts with and, because clearly she's in the middle of this story, she's in the middle of her explanation of how she ended up here. And the hurricane with my name when it came. Imagine it's your time for the timeshare and there's a prediction of a hurricane and you stay because it's Florida and it's your escape, even though like there's a hurricane. Also, there was famously a hurricane called Florence that hit Florida. So fitting that Florence said hurricane with my name. So hurricane with my name when it came, I got drunk and I wished dared it to wash me away. It makes me think of hurricane parties, which I did not know were a thing until we watched Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
Are they actually a thing or was that just
They
from that
are
movie?
actually a thing because I saw
Oh,
them somewhere else. It's basically like when there's supposed to be a hurricane, people throw a party and like hang out inside and so that you're all together and you can support each other and like if the power goes out or whatever, you can have community, I guess. I don't know if it's just a rich people thing. Who's to
sounds like
say?
a rich people thing.
But either way, she's like in this, she got drunk and dared it to wash her away. She's saying like if this is how I go, this is how I go. I'd rather die here than live back home. And that kind of ties into the like hurricane with my name when it came. Like I stayed there. Barricaded in the bathroom with a bottle of wine. Well, me and my ghost, we had a hell of a time. Which just like I love this idea of her barricading herself in the bathroom to just get drunk while there's a hurricane going on. And also like I assume that during a hurricane you're not supposed to be in rooms that have windows. Bathrooms, I feel like are usually like if there's going to be a room in your house that doesn't have a window, it's probably going to be a bathroom. My bathroom doesn't have any windows, so that's what I'm basing it off of. Anyways,
But the way she sings "Me and My Ghosts, We Had a Hell of a Time" is one of my
exactly. She's just being
favorite.
haunted by her past and
Mhm.
drinking, and she's just like, you know what? I'm acknowledging and leaning into my past. These things that have haunted her. She's finally facing them and acknowledging them. And I think that makes a lot of sense because if you're in a hurricane, in the eye of a hurricane, there was quiet for just a moment. I was 9 when my mother died. Sorry. I had to lean into the Hamilton. Um, can't talk about hurricanes without talking about Hamilton.
I can. I've never seen Hamilton.
What? Not even on Disney Plus?
No.
Abigail.
I've heard Burn because I've heard you sing it.
Wait, you haven't listened to all of Hamilton before?
No.
Abby, we're watching Hamilton for the next movie night. We're watching Hamilton
Okay.
for the next movie night. It's happening. It's gonna
No,
happen.
I'm not throwing away my shot.
Shut. I can't believe you avoided that theater kid phase.
No, because it's not my thing. I'm not a historical person.
But you're a person, so you'll like it. You're gonna love it. It's not really like the history is there, whatever. The
All right.
music is incredible. Sorry.
Okay. I will give it a shot for you. I will have an open mind.
Not throwing away my shot. Um, so her and her ghost had a hell of a time. Yes, I'm haunted, but I'm feeling just fine. It's like she's just like, yeah, I was drunk in the bathroom, just me and my ghost having to have a hell of a time, and like somebody makes a face, and she's like, yes, I'm haunted, but I'm doing just fine. Which obviously, when anyone says that they're doing just fine, they are not doing just fine. So like, she's haunted, but she's feeling just fine. Even though her past is haunting her, she's at peace with it to a certain degree. Like she knows that whatever decision she's made has led her to being holed up in this bathroom with wine during a hurricane. But being in that, like, and it makes sense that you're in this dangerous situation. You're just reflecting on your past and being like, you know what? Actually, I'm fine with this. I'm haunted. I'm doing just fine because me and my ghost, we had a hell of a time All my girls got their lace in their crimes. Love. Lace most often is associated with wedding dresses. Like obviously there are other times that people wear lace, but like lace veils and lace wedding dresses are very like classic and timeless pieces. And kind of relating it back to my friends all smell like weed or little babies. This is the more dramatic version of like either my friends are married or they're committing crimes. So
It's one or the other,
it's one or the
usually.
other. It's like, do you want a life of crime or emotional monopoly in the name of monogamy?
True.
And your cheating husband disappeared. Well, no one asked any questions here. Icon.
No body,
Icon.
no crime core.
Estes, they're just at Olive Garden. It's a chain. Olive Gardens exist in Florida, I'm sure. But also, like, there is kind of a historical tradition of women finding ways to get rid of their shitty, abusive husbands. And it's like your cheating husband disappeared. Well, no one asked any questions here. Like, and I think that people find like community in that husband killing in a way. So I did my best to lay to rest all of the bodies that have ever been on my body. The way the rhythm of that line is so good. Even just speaking it, all of the bodies that have ever been on my body. Like, okay,
Well, this whole
good.
part, I mean, I just love it so
And I
much.
think
It's
it's
so
interesting
good.
that it's like the ghosts don't bother her because they only became ghosts after she laid them to rest.
Mm.
Like they might have been dead, but like killing time at the cemetery. And now it's like I did my best to lay to rest all of the bodies that have ever been on my body. And now like I'm just left with their ghosts, but I've already dealt with and processed the things that like happened between us. So I can put them to rest and their ghosts can hang out, but they're not going to bother me.
Interesting. Okay, I don't know if I ever read it that way.
I don't know that I have before, but like looking at the lyrics like this, that's what it made me think of.
And that makes sense.
And in my mind, they sink into the swamp. Um,
Donkey.
I did not have a single Shrek joke written down. That's so
No,
funny. I was tired when I was making these notes, you know? I was so tired that Shrek even escaped my mind. The years start
that's
coming and they
rare.
really don't stop fucking coming. Um,
I can't believe I made the Shrek reference.
someone had to do it.
Yeah, it's true.
Uh, but also I think that like visualizing letting go of something is a like visualization is a very strong technique for dealing with stuff. So like this idea of her visualizing laying these people to rest and they're sinking away into the swamp and like out of her life. And then she's just like, "Oh, is that a bad thing to say in a song?" And Taylor also says that line. So that's both of them singing it together. And which I think is very interesting that both of them are like, should we have said that? I don't know. Probably shouldn't have said that when we buried that guy in the swamp. Uh,
Allegedly.
allegedly. It's
I
a
think,
metaphor, you see. Kill a guy and bury him in the swamp, and then you write a song about it, but you say it's a metaphor.
and you say it's happened in Florida. Get out of jail free card if it happened in Florida.
Exactly.
That's what I've
They got bigger
figured.
problems, like existing in Florida.
I love that whole verse. I love the way I love it. I love the whole verse so much. I just wish that
Same.
she sort of sang it out more
Yeah.
because there's a few spots where I'm like, I can't really understand what she's saying.
Like
Now
I
that
wanted to sing it like Girl with One Eye.
yes. Yeah.
And now we've got the pre-chorus again, which has changed because this time Florence is is singing it. And I think it's interesting how Taylor's character and Florence's character in the song both have their own like narratives and backgrounds. And I think of it as like these two women are both in Florida. Maybe they're next door to each other in the timeshare. Or maybe Florence lives there full time and Taylor is kind of like idolizing her because she left the shitstorm back in Texas.
Do you think do you think that this is the No Body No Crime people? Like Estee's sister and the singer of No Body No Crime.
Ooh, could be.
I mean, it's fun to think
I think it's a
about.
fun theory. I think I haven't thought about it because I don't know, just the way that they're talking about it makes me think of like drunk strangers at a bar talking about their lives.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're giving detail, but like it's still kind of vague. And that like is that a bad thing to say in a song? Is like they're like, ooh, should I have said that to like this stranger that I don't really know that's like at a bar? Are they gonna think that I killed somebody? I mean, like I did, but I don't want
Did
them to
they ever
think it.
actually, they don't ever actually say that they killed someone in this song, do they?
In their mind, they sink into the swamp.
Cause you,
Little did
cause
you
you keep,
know, your home's really only the town you'll get arrested, you know?
yeah, okay. So they're trying to get away from crime somewhere.
Yeah. So I think also, yeah, again, like this song is a kind of a conversation between the two of them. And Florence, like her home is this place where she broke the rules in one way or another and got caught. And now she's the town, your home's really only the town you'll get arrested. The place where she grew up is just the place where she got arrested, and that's in the story of her life, like that's all that it's known as. And also the flip of that, similar to the last pre-chorus, is it could be that she gets arrested when she's in Florida, and therefore like she finally got to be home and then she got arrested for the crimes that she committed before going home. So you pack your life away just to wait out the shitstorm back in Texas. So like she gets arrested back in Texas and she's just packs it up and says, actually, I'm gonna go to Florida to just wait this out for it to die down. So like maybe she did commit a crime and she went to jail for it and then was just like, yeah, the stigma is gonna be really bad around this. So I'm just gonna head out now that I'm free.
It's so interesting that her escape from Texas is Florida.
Yeah. They got swamps.
They got swamps.
They got
That's
swamps.
Florida's tagline, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I agree. The chorus happens again. It's the same chorus. And then the bridge. I love this bridge so
Banger.
much. I need to forget, so take me to Florida. Taylor wants to forget the fact that she's not in the same place as her peers. She doesn't feel like she belongs, and the only time that she can escape is when she's at her timeshare down in Florida. And then so Taylor sings that line, and then Florence sings the next line, I've got some regrets, I'll bury them in Florida. Again, did she get arrested and do a crime? Allegedly. And now she's waiting out the shitstorm down in Florida and like she's doing her visualizations of letting it go because she gets caught in a hurricane and suddenly she's like, actually, my problems aren't that bad and I should actually do more tax evasion. I assume it was tax evasion. That's just kind of the vibe that I get. To
Texas
be
and
fair.
Texas.
Exactly. And then Taylor sings, tell me I'm despicable, say it's unforgivable. Taylor knows that people like look down on you when you escape from your problems by running away instead of dealing with them, which it's interesting because Florence's character escaped her problems and then dealt with the mental part of it. Whereas Taylor is physically escaping, but she's still haunted by these things that are bothering her and by like not being in the same place. And she can't fully settle in the place that feels like home because she can't afford it. And she like uprooting your entire life and moving somewhere new is something that takes a lot of courage and a lot of bravery. And she's just like, I can't like, I'm gonna work my life away to pay for a timeshare down in Destin, but I'm not going to like fully commit to it.
I also think it just shows a lot of her mental state where she's begging this other person to tell her that she's despicable and that what she did was unforgivable. Because I think sometimes we want someone else to say that to us to like further fuel the fire of self-hatred. It's like this really weird desire where you're just like, no, please just tell me like it is. Because I feel like when people tell me that I'm great, you're lying.
Yeah.
Like, so just tell me that it's despicable, it's unforgivable. Tell me.
And I think it's also like I agree that it is like a self punishment type of thing, but it also is like she's waiting for like if they call me a slut, might be worth it for once. Like, tell me I'm despicable, say it's unforgivable, whatever she did. Because she did talk about how this is like a parallel for like breakup. So it's like some breakup happened and now suddenly she's not on the track to have little babies and have the lace and not the crime. So she's like, okay, I'm behind and I'm not behind in the way that people want me to be. I'm not following the path people want me to take. So like just tell me I'm unforgivable. Just tell me that you're done with my wishy-washiness and my desire to live in Florida. Like, just say that you're over it and we can move on from there. She's like, just be honest, derogatory. And then both of them sing, At least the dolls are beautiful. Fuck me up, Florida. Okay.
Fun.
Which those mean the same thing depending on the definition you are using. I do love that both of them, like, whatever repercussions or like scorn they're gonna get for escaping their lives will be worth it because they're in this gorgeous place and these gorgeous dolls are everywhere, you know?
Or are they the dolls?
Oh.
Like at least the dolls are beautiful because that also insinuates that they're being played by other people.
Oh, and that's interesting with the like, tell me I'm despicable, say it's unforgivable, and like objectify me, break me down to just these like decisions and these milestones that you think I'm not reaching. But like,
Hmm.
at least I'm pretty. Oh, I like that. And then Taylor repeats, I need to forget, so take me to Florida. And then both of them sing, I've got some regrets, I'll bury them in Florida. So it's like the first time Florence again is a little bit further along in her healing from doing crime journey. And she's like, already laid to rest all the bodies that have been on her body. And she's burying her regrets in Florida. And now Taylor's like, I too have some regrets, and I will also bury them in Florida, just like you did, Florence. I learned from you, and I have learned to repress that shit.
And that's girlhood.
And that's girlhood.
Two thoughts about Florence's singing. I love in this bridge the I don't know, the part where it's like a dissonant chord where she goes bury them in Florida, and it's like a really weird dissonant chord and I'm obsessed with it. And then also at the end of the second chorus she does a little octave up little trill. Ah, girl. Ah, please.
So good.
Please.
This bridge is incredible.
I just needed to hold space for Florence's vocals.
Absolutely. So then the Tell Me I'm Despicable, Say It's Unforgivable is still sung by Taylor. So she's still working through her shit. Even though she's saying that she could bury her regrets in Florida, she first wants more regrets. What a crash, what a rush, fuck me up, Florida. So obviously, like, she's crashing out from realizing that she has to bury her regrets before she can forget them. Like, she has to fully acknowledge these things that she's done so that she can process them and move through them. And like, what a crash that is of like, you're on this escapist fantasy, you're in Florida and you're like leaving your life, and then you meet somebody and start talking, and you're like, oh, all of my problems followed me here. But this actually is the perfect place to have problems because I can process them and lay them to rest. I can bury them here. But it's still a rush because she's escaping this life that she doesn't feel like she fits in, and that's just a total rush. Is she's living her best life. She's getting fucked up. And also, obviously like Florida is one hell of a drug. You crash when you're coming down from a drug, taking drugs. They say, "Oh, what a rush, man." That's what they say when they do drugs. D, I won't do drugs. A won't
He won't have an
have
attitude.
R, I
R.
will respect myself. E, I will educate me now. That's the Dare song from our elementary school music teacher, Mrs. Alstead. Shout out Mrs. A.
Absolutely, it was.
Okay, and then the last lines of the bridge, I honestly I did not know what they were saying. But now that I know, some of my favorite lines of the song. Love left me like this, and I don't want to exist, so take me to Florida. Did you know that that's what she was saying?
Wait, I have to play this in my head.
Love left me like this, and I don't want to exist, so take me to Florida. It's one hell of a
I'm pretty
drive.
sure that's new in this universe. I don't think that was in my last universe.
No, because because it's the part where they're like kind of singing low right before the, it's one hell of a drug.
Oh yeah, I can't
Yeah,
think of
I don't know.
anything from in between Fuck Me Up Florida to One Hell of a Drug. I can't think of anything in between that.
It's like, because it's this very fast moment, but it's love left me like this, and I don't want to exist, so take me to Florida.
Ow.
the idea that love destroys you so entirely that you aren't happy anymore. And like the place that she used to call home, maybe it did feel like home before love left her like this. And now she's like bitter and she's angry and she's vengeful and she just wants to escape because she can no longer deal with what's happening in her life.
It's like after Down Bad when she's
Exactly.
dropped back into her world and
Mm.
now she feels like a guest in it because she saw the other world with the aliens.
Exactly. This is like she's like either take me back to space or Florida. They're both unbelievably, it's unbelievable that both are real, you know? Um, like, oh, just, I don't want to exist, so take me to Florida. Love
That's
me like this. I
wild.
don't want to exist, so I just can't get over how fucking good that is.
I it's wow.
So iconic.
As if Florida is just like this enigmatic place. I'm thinking about the
Oh,
guy that
wait. Also,
says,
I just realized, sorry, I realized that I said those in the wrong order of like what
okay.
the, so it is like the, it's one hell of a drug, it's one hell of a drug. And then the love left me like this, I don't want to exist. And then it goes into the pre-chorus. Sorry, I was reading weird.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yes, I remember this now. Yes, I never knew what they were saying, but
Yes,
I remember it now. Okay.
yes.
Well, I keep thinking about the meme guy that goes aliens, except it's just Florida.
Florida.
That's this song.
So after the bridge is the pre-chorus, which is actually pretty unusual. Usually pre-choruses don't happen after the bridge, especially in Taylor songs. It usually goes like verse, pre-chorus, chorus, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, bridge, chorus, outro. Is like
Hmm.
the normal song structure, and same with hers. And what's really cool about this pre-chorus is that they just combine the other two pre-choruses that are from each of their point of views. And so it starts with just Taylor singing Little Did You Know Your Home's Really Only, and they both say A Town You're Just a Guest In. And then Taylor again sings So You Work Your Life Away Just to Pay For, and then they both sing A Timeshare Down in Destin. And it's just it continues kind of in that theme of like Taylor sings most of the line and then Florence comes in. And I think it's really interesting that like they have these different stories, but there's so much overlap to why they ended up in Florida that their stories could be told the same way.
Yeah.
And then we got the chorus happens again. And I love that the last line is just Florida, go on, fuck me up. She's like, you know what? I'm going here, I'm escaping, and I'm just gonna let whatever happens happen. So fuck me up, Florida.
But it's so soft.
Go on, fuck me up.
It's so soft
Because like this
because
whole time she's just like, yeah, like fuck me up, like use me up, whatever. Can I use you up, Florida? Like, and then she's just like, you know what? Yeah, okay. Like I know that whatever happens in Florida is going to change my life. So like fuck me up. I'm already fucked up.
this song feels like she starts off really confident about her decision and then builds momentum by meeting this Florence character and
Mhm.
then they both sort of have a mentee be in the bridge and then it ends with her just being like resigned to her
Yeah.
situation.
And it's like, because also Florence is like, yeah, I did get over my problems, but it took a life or death situation first. And at first it's
Hmm.
like, oh wow, you like laid to rest all the bodies that have ever been on your body. How did you do that? And it's like, oh, I got drunk in a bathtub during a hurricane. It's like, oh, are there gonna be more hurricanes soon? I got some shit to work through. Like,
I microdosed the state of Florida
exactly.
at a swamp.
I'm just imagining a t-shirt. Like one of those like I went to Florida and all I got is a stupid t-shirt. It's just like I microdosed Florida at a swamp and all I got was this stupid t-shirt.
That's them at the end of the song.
Literally. My discussion question, if your life fell apart and you had the money to pick up in travel and like drop your life and start it again somewhere new, where would you pick to restart your life?
I have thought about this extensively.
As the I
Um,
hate it here girlies are wont to do.
So, of course, I've thought about London my whole life, England in general, but I only really got to see London and I loved it there. Ireland too, I am Irish. Or if I don't want to flee the country because then I have to deal with visa stuff,
Mm.
Seattle.
Seattle's a solid place.
It's so great there.
I feel like if money was no problem in the US, I'd probably go like San Francisco. That's
Ooh.
one of my favorite cities, and also anywhere in Italy. Like, would I have to learn Italian? Yes, to be worth it because damn, I loved Rome. I also loved Florence, but Rome had my heart. Rome is like one of my favorite places I've ever visited.
I didn't get to go to Rome. I just went to Sardinia,
We'll
actually. I
have
didn't
to
go.
go on our for our 30th birthdays. We're planning on doing like a little Euro trip moment. We'll have to roam it up.
Yeah, I'm hoping I'll have savings by then. We'll get there. I don't know what we're gonna do for the next episode. We don't
Nor
really
do
have it
I.
planned out yet. So
So
instead of
just
doing,
imagine that we're saying really cool hint songs, and you're going,
ooh, the coolest.
"Oh,
So
I
instead of
can't
a
wait to
hint
listen to that
song,
episode."
what song are you listening to on repeat right now?
Oh, that's a good question. The top song on my on repeat is unsurprisingly "Basic Being Basic" by Joe.
Why won't mine show up?
I had to like type in the full thing and then hit
The
enter.
full legal government? Okay, I got it
I had
now.
to type in the full on
Oh my
repeat.
God. My number one is also Basic Being Basic by
Oh my
Joe.
God, look at us go. And
That
then my
makes
number
sense.
two is Please by Daisy Jones and the Six because I just rediscovered that song. And oh,
Yeah, in the Valley of Death.
you know it. You know that I
Oh.
talked about that line so much. It's
My number two is Nothing Really Matters by Jaden Ladder.
which is a song I introduced you to because when I first discovered that song, I listened to it on repeat with big over ear can noise canceling headphones for like no joke 45 minutes straight. I just listened to it.
Oh, yeah. So that's what we're listening to. What are you guys listening to? Let us know.
Oh, Nothing Really Matters is also on my on repeat, just a lot lower down.
Oh, beautiful. So we've got the brain cell is pinging and ponging. So thank you so much for listening. I want to thank our swiftest tier patrons, Bethany M, September, Ashley, Liam, and Chelsea. Wow.
You
What a
guys
group.
are the best.
Really, really, truly are.
I hope that you all see a really cute dog or cat in the wild in a moment when you just are like, damn, I need to be cheered up. And then it's like, bam, animal.
Exactly. I saw a dog today, genuinely made my whole day. Like, I can't explain to you the joy that dogs bring me. This was a golden retriever hanging out of the window of a car, and I drove past it, and I
Oh,
was like, that's a beautiful. Anyway, he was smiling at me.
incredible.
We had a connection. I love dogs so much. Also, I love Amelia, who is clawing at the door. So, without further ado, if you want to see clips and talk to us, do whatever, you can follow us on Instagram at Swiftlore Pod.
And on TikTok at Swiftlore Pod.
And you can also join our Patreon if you'd like, where we have our show notes every week, extra cut content, footage, bonus stuff. You can chat with us in the community chat. There's also the live streams, et cetera, et cetera. All those links are in the show notes, as well as the guest application. It's not really an application, it's just a form if you want to fill out, maybe be a guest. We didn't have one this month because of scheduling conflicts, but we're going to try to get that started once a month starting in April or May. But things are getting pretty crazy for me these next 8 weeks as I enter my last little bit of
Abby's
grad
almost
school.
graduating.
So thank
Yeah.
you everyone for your patience during this transitory period of Swift Floor Podcast.
Well, I'll just clap and we'll pretend it's a high five.
Okay, perfect. All right, I kind of
Bye.
heard a mild thud, so
You know what? Fair enough.
all
You just
right, bye you
heard a
guys.
clapping noise.
Until next time.